Welcome to the Accessibility Guide channel. Today, we are going to design a document in Canva and practice using some of the export settings so that we can design an accessible document. I have canva.com pulled up, and the first thing I'm going to do is select Create a Design. Then I'm going to select Doc. This is a new feature within Canva that allows users to create documents. And I want to test some of the accessibility features of these documents. So let's practice making some content accessible. The first thing I'm going to do is add a header into this Canva document. Now, because I don't really care about designing it to make it look nice, the document is probably going to look pretty boring. I want to ensure that I have a heading applied on this text that I just typed in here. So I'm going to select it and see if I can choose a heading level 1, and it appears I can. Next, I'm going to select this Add Magic button underneath my heading level 1, and just for fun, let's add a heading level 2. And then let's select the Add Magic button again, and let's add in a table this time. And let's do something easy, maybe a 2x3 table. I'm going to say due date and project for my table header. It doesn't look like there's an ability to add a table header, but we can merge cells and add columns. So today's due date 1/30/3 2/7/ and then the project will be testing Canva part 4. All right, now let's add a couple more elements. What about a list item? Looks like we have bulleted list and numbered list. And let's add both types just so that we can test them. And then finally, I added in a random design, which appears to be something that Canva offers to make the document look a little bit better. All right, so we have a heading level 1, a heading level 2, a table, an unordered list, and an ordered list inside of this document. And then we also have an image. So let's go ahead and export this file out. I'm going to select the share button in the top right corner, and then I'm going to select download, and my only option is PDF standard. Let's choose letter and select download. All right, I have my document pulled up. But before we get to that, please hit that like and subscribe button for more up-to-date accessibility best practices. Now back to the video. In Adobe Acrobat, and the first thing I want to do is open up the tags panel. So I'm going to expand this menu on the left-hand side and select the tags button. And it does appear that some of the content did, in fact, come through. All right. So for some reason, the content is buried inside many div tags. But let's go ahead and clean the tag structure up a little bit. And what I'm going to do is remove the tags out of the div content so we could take a more clear look at how the document came out of Canva. So to do that, I'm going to select the individual tags, the P tag, the figure tag, and then go up in the tags panel and select this other content. And I'm simply going to drag it above and drop it directly under the document. Now I can delete all of these empty div tags. And it looks like there's some more nested div tags here. Oh my goodness, look at all these div tags. Okay, so it definitely does not export a table correctly. As we can see, we have about 5 or 6 additional div tags for the table content. So instead of cutting and pasting this out, I'm actually gonna try to use the reading order tool to tag this as a table. So I'm going to select the accessibility button and then choose reading order, and then select all of the content in the table and select table. And let's see if that did any better. All right, now we have some extra document tags, but it did fix that issue. It did allow me to tag all of that content as a table tag. All right, so as it stands now, we have a P tag, table, list, and a figure, followed by some text. Let's go ahead and finish making this document accessible. The first thing I want to do is update this P tag to an H1, And I'm going to do that by selecting F2 on my keyboard and simply typing in the correct tag that it should be. So we have H1, H2, we have our table tags that are currently not table headers. So I'm going to update those from TDs to THs. And we have 2 list items. Oh, these list items are not properly formatted either. So a normal list item has the L tag, LI, and then L body, or the label tag. And as it stands now, we simply have non-structured content. So I need to change all of those to L bodies in order for this to be an accessible list item. So to do that, I'm going to select each of the non-structured tag types, right-click them, select properties, and then I'm going to type the word capital L, capital B, body, and then select close. So that cleans up the list items. The labels aren't coming through, so it also isn't determining whether or not this is an unordered versus an ordered list. And then finally, we have a figure tag and a paragraph tag. In this instance, I'm going to artifact the figure tag. To do that, I'm going to right-click the image and select Change Tag to Artifact, and then select Page and delete the figure tag out. All right, let's go ahead and run the accessibility checker and see what we got going on. So tag content failed. Awesome. So my numbered list items are coming up that the content is not tagged. All right, so to fix this, I'm going to go back to my tags panel. Let's open up the second list item here. And just to make this simple, I'm going to put my cursor where the first numbered list item is. Then using my mouse, I'm going to select the 1 period. And then under the options button under the tags, I'm going to select create tag from selection. And what that does is it puts this tag type in the L body section. If I really wanted to do this correctly, I would put this in a label tag, LBL, and move the 1 into the label. All right, let's do number 2. I'm going to select the 2 period, and under the options menu, select create tag from selection, and then let's right-click new tag, select label, and move the number 2 element to the label. All right, let's run the accessibility checker again. And this one, we have a summary failed. In order to add a table summary, I'm going to launch the reading order tool, right-click inside of the table, and select edit table summary. Then I can go ahead and add a table summary and select OK. So this is going to pass the accessibility checker within Adobe Acrobat. Why don't we go ahead and test this with the Pack 3 tool also? So I'm launching the Pack 3 tool, which can test for PDF UA and WCAG guidelines. And I'm going to drag my file in here. And we have a whole bunch more failures that we got to work on. But it does technically pass the accessibility checker, so it's a start. The next phase of this would be making it PDF UA and WCAG compliant. So you just learned how to design a document in Canva and export it with the preferred settings so that we are able to apply our accessibility best practices to this document. Now, this was a special case that I used the document feature within Canva. If you are creating PNGs or JPEGs out of Canva, I'm going to provide a link to that video in the description so that you can learn the trick to convert that PDF correctly so that you can apply the proper accessibility elements. Once again, thank you for joining me today. My name is Sean Jordison, and I can be your personal accessibility expert. Thank you for stopping by.